Just a reminder that this and all my other videos are made for doll collectors or adults buying dolls for others. This is not a video for children. Viewer discretion is advised. Thank you very much for listening. Hello Internet! My name is Kelsey and welcome back to my closet. This is so crazy. I can't believe still that I actually hit 1,000 subscribers. That is such a huge number. It's like... I didn't think I was gonna get past like 100 subscribers when I started this channel. 1,000 is like mind-blowing, and I just have to say again, thank you. Thank you to every single one of you. You guys are awesome. You help keep me motivated to keep the channel going. I love talking to you guys. I love seeing you guys come back all the time. And I'm so glad that you enjoy this because, like, you know, I just started doing this and I didn't think anyone was ever going to notice me. You know, I thought I was just going to be in a sea of other doll collectors that try to make a YouTube channel and just, I don't know what I did, but thank you so much for liking it and being here. You guys rock. You really do. This video is going to be kind of back and forth because I wanted to try to answer questions while I was baking, but I thought it was going to be too difficult to look at the questions, answer them, and then I wouldn't be concentrating on baking. So I'm doing the question segment here, and then we'll be switching back and forth with me in the future baking throughout the questions. So yeah, I hope that it's okay. I hope you guys like it. Also, if you didn't get a chance to ask a question, or if any of my answers make you think of a new question, definitely leave them in the comments. I'm up for chatting about my personal life and feelings and thoughts whenever. I'm not really like the type to hide stuff. I'm open to you guys asking whatever. And now, with that out of the way, let us begin the asking and answering. I am gonna start with Allie, who has been watching the channel for so long, and I really appreciate every comment that you leave. So first, she asks, go over the dolls that started your channel. I'm trying to think back. The first doll that I made a video about was actually a Secret Crush doll, if I remember correctly. And it was actually this specific one. I don't remember her name now. I remember that I just thought the Secret Crush dolls were really cute. I had gotten one, not made a video about it, but then when I went back and got another, I was like, maybe I should try making a video. I was pretty proud of the editing of that video, and I was still trying to get the feel of what it would be like to make a video in the first place. But obviously, my videos have come a long way. I mean, I was hiding myself behind the camera, and I hadn't really found my style yet, but I still think she's really cute. She reminds me of Rose Quartz from Steven Universe. This is a cute line. It didn't really take off. This is an MGA line, by the way, in case you didn't know. They just kind of fell to the wayside because of all the other stuff coming out. So that was the first ever thing that I made a video about, I think, was that Secret Crush doll. But if I had to say dolls that really like kind of pushed my channel forward, it would probably be Alex from the Glow Up Girls. So here she is, and I won her from Far Out Fan Day last summer. I can't believe it's been that long already. But they had like a trivia question during the Far Out Fan Day, and I was the first one to answer correctly. So they sent me her, and I was able to do the review of her like a month before the Glow Up Girls were coming out. I just got really, really lucky in that regard, in that I had something that no one else had a review of, which is basically impossible to do most of the time unless you get PR. I attribute a lot of the visibility, I guess, to the fact that I was able to get her. It was very lucky, like I said, extremely lucky that I just happened to type fast enough, faster than everybody else, and be able to win her. So Alex was one of them, and then also I would say Emmy from Rainbow High also helped grow the channel a little bit, because when I found, oh my god, her skirt's coming off. Sorry, I didn't mean to have you flash everybody. Her hair is still so silky. I love it. Anyway, when I found Series 3, it was still really trickling into stores, so I had a review of her pretty early, plus none of the big channels had gotten PR for Series 3, so whoever got them first was gonna have the first reviews. And overnight, I gained 100 subscribers almost from Emmy's review. So I think that also really pushed things forward. And like, so those were the dolls that I would say not only started the channel, but also really pushed the channel to gain more visibility. And I do really appreciate it. And you know, obviously anyone who starts a YouTube channel, they hope that someone's going to watch their videos, because making videos is not easy. It's not like you just do it and it goes up automatically and it's over. Depending on the style, you have to do the editing and everything, and you have to invest the time to actually sit down and, you know, make the actual video and film yourself. So everybody wants that work to be appreciated. So when your videos don't get views, it's kind of like, but when they do get views, it's like really exciting. So at this point, I kind of just let things happen naturally, and you know, if I happen to make a video that does really, really well, like I did not expect Emmy's video to do as well as it did, but if that happens and a lot of people come, the more the merrier, you know? I love being able to talk to all you guys. I love when a new face pops up and they keep popping up in the comments, you know, and getting to know you guys, because I've learned a lot about certain people who are always around. I know what kind of dolls they like, or maybe what area they're from, and the dolls that they want in the future, and that's fun, you know? I don't have any other doll people to talk to in real life, so you guys are like my doll friends, and yeah, so it's not just about like views and stuff, it's about a community, which I said in the post about 1,000 subscribers. I just love that we're building a community here. So that was kind of a little bit off topic, but yeah, the dolls that really fueled the channel, that would be those three. Hello internet, welcome to Food Theory. Oh wait a minute, that's the wrong channel. Scripted, fake, stupid jokes, right? No, my brother got me this apron for Christmas, so I gotta wear it because we're in the kitchen! Welcome to my kitchen. You don't get to see a whole lot of it because, you know, I'm just working in this one space, but here's part of it. That's why the sound is weird, the lighting's weird, and you may hear some footsteps of dogs walking around below my feet. But anyway, we're about to make some cake. So, as you may be able to see, there's some ingredients here on the counter. One thing I learned in baking school, it was a community college, but in baking classes is you always have all your stuff ready to go before you start. It's called mise en place. I have the oven preheated behind the camera there to 350, and this recipe is yellow cake, and it's from the Pillsbury website. Because I'm being extremely lazy. I don't want to go crazy doing a huge cake because my family is not cake people. And it's just me and my mom right now. My brothers are over in Jersey at school. So I'm taking this vegetable-based butter that I have laying around. We bought it by mistake, thinking it was regular butter. I'm using it to coat an 8-inch cake pan. And I'm making one layer, so this recipe is actually cut in half from the Pillsbury recipe because again, there's only 2 of us here and we don't eat cake too often, so I'm just doing this for the celebration part. Now my hands are greasy, but I have a paper towel here. Another thing I like to keep handy when I'm baking, besides all my ingredients and measuring stuff, is a paper towel and a knife. And now that I greased the pan, I'm gonna throw some flour in it, and you may be able to hear cat meows as well. And then I just roll the flour around inside the pan to coat where all the grease was, and that just helps the cake to not stick. You can also do this with shortening. You just take a paper towel and rub the shortening on, or you can use a pan spray. Pam actually makes a flour-based pan spray specifically for baking. Also, because I'm being lazy, we're not using the KitchenAid. We are gonna use a hand mixer and bowls that I can put in the dishwasher for ease of cleanup. Before I get started, there was one question that I think I forgot to answer in the upstairs portion from XFairFairyX, who wanted to see some of my plushes that I make on Etsy. So I'll just show a couple while I explain the directions of the first part of making this cake. In one bowl, you're going to put together your dry ingredients, which will be flour, baking powder, and salt. And because I'm cutting the recipe in half, it will be 1 1/4 cup of flour, 1 1/4 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1/8 teaspoon of salt. And you may think that it's not necessary to put in just 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, but it is. Trust me. Always remember as well that you want to get your dry ingredients to be level when you are measuring them, because the key to baking is accuracy, which is why I'm not good at cooking, because it's more about feeling, and I can't feel it. I don't have the feeling. Now I'm going to take a small whisk that I have, and all my baking stuff is right here in the island. We didn't have an island in our kitchen in Jersey, but it is so great for baking, and I just whisked the dry ingredients together in the bowl. In another bowl, we are going to beat together the sugar and butter until it is light and fluffy. Now, that's another thing that I learned not only in school, but also when I was working, interning in a private bakery. You can't overmix the butter and the sugar. The more that you mix them, the more air gets into it, and it makes the cake nice and fluffy. It also works when you're making cookies and other things that have beaten butter and sugar. It's when you add the flour that you don't want to overmix, because the more that you mix it, the more gluten is created, and in a cake you don't want that much gluten because you want it to be soft, whereas in bread you want a lot of gluten, which is why you need it a lot. Hope you guys are learning something. So I'm using 6 tablespoons of butter, and it is supposed to be softened. Now I didn't take it out ahead of time, so what I'm gonna do real quick is just put it in the microwave for like, I don't know, 10 seconds just to make it a little bit softer. And basically what you want is to be able to press it and it kind of indents a little bit, but not be liquid, because then it'll be melted, not softened. Okay, and now we are going to do 2/3 of a cup, speak properly, of sugar. The other thing I learned in baking school is that it's important to scoop in to cup measurements. Weighing is better, and that's how we mostly did in school, was weighing ingredients, but if you're using cup measurements, you want to scoop in, because if you dig in with the cup, you might get air pockets, and that'll mess up your measurements. I also take the back of a knife and just shoop over the top to level it off, and now can get the sugar out of here. And this is where the handy dandy electric mixer comes in. And while I'm beating this, we may as well get back to the past me upstairs answering some questions. Now, Allie also asked how I would feel about carrying a doll in public, such as Resilient here, who I still love so much. And I mean, I would love to take her out in public and photograph her more. I mean, I don't have a lot of time to do that kind of stuff, and I still haven't had time to really make her other clothes besides this first thing that I set up for her. I don't know if I'm ready to go out in public and just kind of be there with a doll taking pictures. Even like taking pictures, you can feel a little bit more secure about it because that could be your job, and so that's what you could tell people if they question it, but it's still a little bit awkward, you know. This is something that my friends and family, well, some of my friends and family know about, but not everybody. And I don't know, it's just, I guess it's a little bit harder when somebody's looking directly at you in person as opposed to somebody seeing my video but I don't see their reaction. Does that make sense? I will say, if you have followed me on Instagram for a very long time, I brought Sophie, changed her in this outfit. I'm not really thrilled with it, but I brought her to Lake George with me last summer because she was my first modern Barbie that I got, and I put her on the Made to Move body, and I just really love her face, and I love taking pictures of her. And I had all these fashion packs that I got, and I was like, well, we're gonna be in an RV, so we'll be in private. Maybe I could take a couple pictures of her in the RV or like outside or whatever. And I did bring her to the one like historical site that we saw there, and I was able to be alone for a moment in like this basement area and like next to a cannon and stuff, so I was able to take a couple of like outside pictures at an actual place, but I was really careful about no other tourists being in the area while I did it. Yeah, I don't know if I'm there yet. The other thing is, when I went and got Shadow Hide, I went to Starbucks afterwards. They were in my front seat when the woman gave me my drinks, and she kind of saw them and she was like, so like that's the kind of thing like I want to avoid, I guess, you know, and I shouldn't really care so much what other people think, but it's hard. And I think every adult doll collector has to make peace with different aspects of the hobby throughout their doll collecting journey. So I guess that's just not the point where I am yet. So it's more just like an inside the house kind of thing for me for now. Okay, so Juliana has been asking me for a proper room tour for a while. And we kind of did it in a live stream, but my webcam on my laptop is not very good, so you couldn't really get the full view of my bedroom in that live stream. So I'm gonna take the camera off the tripod and we're gonna go look outside the closet just at my bedroom, and it's a mess, but you know, we're gonna do it anyway because why not? There's the hallway. I have the door closed so that no sound can come in the room for now. This is my door. And I have this thing with all my pins that I got from Disney World. I've got this whiteboard behind the door that I haven't changed the writing on in forever, so it's very, you could see it's all dirty and gross and stuff. There is that little picture, and I have a lot of stuff on my walls. So there's the closet door, and I'm gonna back up a little bit. Oh man. So this is my dresser, and I think April also asked about where I have some dolls outside of the closet. So this is where a lot of them are, on the dresser. That's all my jewelry and stuff. And I still have Emmy's sweatshirt over there that I keep meaning to fix, and I just haven't done it all after all this time. But there's the OMGs hanging out with some Pusheen figures. There's Ileana, who I haven't decided where she's gonna go, and then I have pictures of my family and stuff up there. And then, oh, the Barbie Extra Minis are up there. This is my hermit crab's cage. He's the shell that's right back there by that black thing. That's like a heating pad. Keeps him nice and warm. And my calendar from Disney World. And some other stuff on the wall. There's Signature Pink Doll 2. There's Steffi. There's the Porcelain Doll. There's Belle and the Beast. And then I've got my shelves of all of my different knickknacks. Teapot stuff. I got a bunch of Tsum Tsums and Pusheen plushes. There's my Pop figures, and that cardboard background is the thing from the Polly Pocket that I did not that long ago, and it works perfectly with all the Sailor Moon stuff there. This is my seashore fish rubber ducky shelf. Here's my Polly Pocket shelf, and under this shelf is just books and stuff, and then there's some Polly Pocket stuff hiding back there. Those are like all the hidden doll room crafts that I've been trying to work on that I just don't have time to do right now, but I will get to them eventually. And here's this shelf. Here's Victorian Lady Barbie, my other little porcelain dolls. I got these tiny ones having tea. And there's my Harry Potter shelf. Of course, this is all stuff that I've had for a long time since, you know, before all the controversy and everything, but I'm not gonna get rid of it because I spent good money on it. And then there's Kitty's stuff, there's Aladdin and Jasmine, and my whole Disney shelf. There's 50th anniversary Minnie, and lots of stuff there. I just have a lot of stuff. And I have a very small room, so I'm very limited on space, and I'm open about that. I say all the time how I have to be really selective about what I get. Because even the shelf with the OMGs, like, it's very, very full. So what am I gonna do if I want more OMGs? Anyway, then the bed, which is not made, sorry. There's my kitties, 2 of them. This is Slinky, him is good. And this is Ian, and him is bad. Got some plushes, more stuff. There's my Vinylmation shelf. And you might have seen that I had more on my dresser over there. My aunt sent some that she didn't want anymore, but I don't know where they're gonna go. Because look how full it is. There's my lamp. My friend painted that Jafar for me for my birthday. It was really cool. Then that is a drawing that my other friend did, and yeah, that's the other door of the closet. So technically this closet is supposed to open both ways, but because this room is so small and I wanted my bed next to the window, I can't open that door. So it just stays closed all the time. And then there's the inside of the closet. There's my suitcases and bags and stuff, my clothes. There's everybody. Hi! Oh look, it's Junior. Hi, Poppy. You guys didn't know that I had her, did ya? Yeah, I got her after Violet because I thought she was kind of cute and I liked Violet, so I was like, I guess I'll get Poppy too. And then there's all my shoes. My goodness, my shoes. See, like, I'm bursting at the seams. I need, like, a house. That big thing is the box from Belle and the Beast. And then I've got the shelf with the Hairdorables and the Bratz, which is a weird combination. And then this shelf with Mermaid High and Glow Up Girls and a couple other randos. And yeah, so that's my room. Alright, so I kind of got 2 questions out of the way in one with that. So this is kind of what you're looking for, this like pale yellow color, and for it to be kind of in a lump. And just to get the rest of it off the things, I just let it spin into the bowl. Like I said, you can't really overmix when it comes to the butter and the sugar. So now that we've done that, we will beat in 3/4 teaspoons of vanilla, which I happen to have right here, and then 2 eggs. Now the full recipe calls for 3 eggs, but you can't do 1.5 eggs. It's always better to round up when it comes to eggs, especially because this is a yellow cake, and the eggs are what makes it yellow. Although I am going to be adding some food dye later on. But always round up when it comes to eggs. It just makes things richer. You don't want to take out the eggs or things won't be as moist. Also, if you never knew the difference between white and yellow cake, because often those are the 2 vanilla flavors in like the grocery store bakeries, white cake just doesn't have any egg yolks in it. It's what makes it a little bit fluffier, less dense. Personally, I like the yellow. It feels smoother in your mouth, but that's a personal preference. A lot of people out here order white cake. Yellow is very unpopular here for some reason. Now, the way I like to crack eggs, I don't like to do it on the side of the bowl because, I don't know, I feel like it gets the shell in more to the egg. It's easier if you just tap it on the counter and then split it with your thumbs. Now I'm going to quickly wash my hands of any egg goop. I'll beat this stuff and you guys can watch some more questions. Charm asks, if I were to design a doll from scratch, what would be an unusual but essential feature? Or just some elements of an ideal doll? So this is kind of a hard question because I've never really thought about like what my ideal doll would be. I can tell you that the things that I value in a doll mostly are the clothes and the articulation. I don't even necessarily care so much about like inset eyes versus painted faces, because while I like dolls like Rainbow High that have the inset eyes that are very pretty, I also really like a lot of Barbie faces that are always just painted faces. And Bratz too, when I had, you know, them as a kid, they had painted faces. I mean, I never knew the difference. What I really always loved about the Bratz was their clothing design, and I used to change their clothes a lot when I was younger, but they don't really have a lot of articulation. I do really enjoy just taking the dolls and posing them, and it just gives them more personality and life when you can pose them and make them do things that real people do. So those would be the 2 things that would be the highest priority for me if I was designing a doll. And I'm talking like not only the clothes are made of nice materials, but they have to look nice too. They can't be ugly. They can't be like Barbie extra. They have to be cute. They have to be stylish. But yeah, I don't know what kind of unusual trait that I would attribute to a doll, because there are a lot of dolls that have their gimmicks and different things that make them stand out, so I guess I'm not really as creative. I like to see what other people come up with and be like, okay, I like that, but I don't like that. So yeah, I'm sorry if that answer is not exactly what you were looking for, but at least now you know what I really love most in dolls. Okay, X Fair Fairy X asks a couple of questions here. What is your first doll memory that you remember as a kid? Do not know. I'm trying to think, because there's a couple of different doll memories that I have, but that was a long time ago now. I mean, I'm gonna be 30 this year, so so my first memories are from a long time ago. One thing I vividly remember, and I guess this happened when I was pretty young, was my friend who introduced me to Bratz when we were kids. We went to see the Scooby-Doo movie, the live action one, in theaters, and then I slept over her house that night, and the next day I just remember being on her trampoline playing with the Bratz and pretending that they were in the Scooby-Doo movie. So I don't know why that stands out so much in my mind, but that's one really strong doll memory that I have. Otherwise, I just remember like specific dolls that I enjoyed playing with, or like how I would set up different things. Although, I don't know if this is the kind of memory you're looking for, but I had this, and I still have it, this Barbie supermarket playset that had tons of little food items. I mean, you had like your individual carrots and stuff and like boxes of cereal. It was a really cool playset, and you know, all the other shopping elements that you need if you're gonna go grocery shopping, right? So I had it in this plastic tub, and I always put everything away because my mom was very big on like, put them all away, don't want to lose any of the pieces. So I always put them all away. And my brother, who must have been, you know, I don't know, 4 or 5 maybe, went into my room and dumped the whole bin all over my floor, and I just came into my room and there was all the food pieces scattered everywhere, and I was like, ah! Because I was afraid that something was gonna be lost or whatever. But I vividly remember that. That was a long time ago too. I also remember that he pulled Skipper's head off twice. 2 different Skippers that he pulled their heads off. Not the kind of positive doll memories you were probably looking for, but those are the earliest ones that I can remember. Also, if you could have a doll with any theme, what would it be? Well, I love space. If they had a space theme line, I know there was Novi Stars, but they don't 100% appeal to me. Like, I go back and forth. Sometimes I see them and I'm like, oh, they're really cute, but then I look at them more, I'm like, yeah, there's things I don't like about them. But if they made an even better space themed line, because I don't think the Novi Stars were totally bad, but if they could just take it up to the next level, space themed dolls. I want space. I love space. I love sparkles and the night sky and stars and space. What other hobbies do you have besides doll collecting? I guess crafting is one of my hobbies. I don't get to craft as much for myself lately just because I'm like between work, school, Etsy, and then YouTube. I'm pretty busy. I almost feel like I've got like 4 jobs going on right now. But when school is over, I think I'm gonna have a lot more time to like just focus on doing some crafting for myself. But I've always loved crafting. That's a big hobby. I used to draw back in the day, mostly like fan art stuff, but I can't draw as well as I can write, and I've written a lot of fan fiction, so writing is kind of like another hobby. And then my other hobby, which I guess also kind of answers question from DH at the same time, is that I like to sing. And their question was, do I have any hidden talents? So I would say that, yeah, singing is probably a hidden talent. I don't like to brag about it or anything, but I like to think that I have a pretty good voice. I sing in the car a lot, and I have been for my whole life. I can't survive a car ride without singing at least a little bit, or I'll just go crazy. I've thought about making like, you know, just fun little cover videos but you know, you guys aren't here for that. You guys are here for doll stuff, so it would have to be like a separate channel. But I don't think I have time to manage and operate 2 separate channels. So there's my hidden talent, singing. This is what you're kind of looking for here. It's a light yellow, goopy kind of mix. And the eggs really do take on a lot of air as well. Whipping egg whites is how you make meringue, or when you're like using and folding into macaron cookies or like tres leche cake. Eggs really fluff up a lot, so that's also going to add a lot of air to the cake, as well as the baking powder, which will start working once we get it in the oven. So the last thing we're going to do is alternatively adding milk and our dry mix in with the egg mixture. And this, doing it alternatively, kind of just helps to incorporate it better. You're not mixing all of the flour in at once and giving it too much time to create gluten, because gluten is created by both moisture and movement. So as soon as it touches the eggs and stuff, it's gonna start making gluten. So we wanna try to slow that process down as much as we can so we get a nice fluffy cake. I'm gonna add half of the flour mixture and mix it. And always start on a low speed so you don't get flour all over the place. And make sure not to overmix it. The full recipe is 1 1/4 cups, so it would really be a half plus an eighth, which is just a hair under 3/4 of a cup. And I'm using a different cup from the measuring. You always want to measure your liquids in a fluid container rather than your dry ingredient measuring. It's also always a good idea to have a rubber spatula handy to scrape the sides of the bowl, get down at the bottom, because sometimes solid stuff gets stuck at the bottom and it's not mixed in well to the rest of the batter. The other half of our flour mixture. And the last thing that I am going to do, just to make this a little special, is take some food coloring, because I'm gonna do chocolate icing on this, so I'm not gonna be able to really do colorful decorations like I would do at work or whatever. But I want to still make the cake look kind of cool, so I'm gonna take the knife, I'm gonna get a little bit of this, and this is like a gel color, so I don't think I need too much. Put it on the side of the bowl here. I'm gonna try to add a little bit more. So now I'm gonna pop these guys off. Put them in the sink, and we're going to scrape our batter down into this pan. It's a little grainy. Not usually the cake batter that I like to see, but this recipe isn't rated amazingly well. It just like is the easiest one that I came across, and again, I'm being kind of lazy about this. It's been like 2 weeks, I think, since I filmed the question portion. At this point, I'm well over 1,000 subscribers, and I want to get it out as soon as possible now, because I promised you guys, and it's hanging over my head. So I'm trying to do this the easy way. I won't lie to you, but I think it'll still taste pretty good. I mean, it's cake. It's very hard to make a cake that tastes totally awful unless you put salt instead of sugar, which happened in one of my classes. Not to me, but to one of my classmates. It's pretty bad. Okay, now it's gonna go in the oven, 30 to 35 minutes. So I'll see you guys in 30 to 35 minutes. Also, always start on the lower end of the suggested time, because it's better to underbake and put it back in than overbake. DH also asked, how do you decompress after a stressful day? So when I have a stressful day, usually what I do to decompress, first of all, I will vent about it to my mom, because she is always there to listen to what's going on, and she knows like the drama that happens at work or whatever, and yeah. So if I'm stressed, I will talk to her about it, and that helps me decompress. But also, if I need to take some time and just like, you know, clear out my head, sometimes I'll just go on Tumblr and just like scroll through tags that I like, or I'll go on Instagram and just check out what's going on there. I'll see who's uploaded videos of, you know, from people that I'm subscribed to. Video games are always good for decompressing, especially when Animal Crossing first came out, and like I take long breaks from Animal Crossing, but then I'm like everyday Animal Crossing for a little while, so that's really, it's very peaceful, so it's a good way to help relieve some stress. And of course, hanging out with the dolls is always nice too. Like, I know that's like the obvious cliche answer for the doll collector on YouTube, but I like being in here, and like I'll open up the Rainbow High closet and just see what outfits I want to make with them, or brush their hair a little bit, and it's just nice, and it's just like, So there's a lot of different things. And then also, now I've kind of gotten into slime, so I've got slime to play with if I'm feeling like fidgety. And I guess one other thing would be, sometimes it's nice to just sit and hang out with my pets. So whether I come up to my room and the kitties come in and lay on the bed with me, or I'll sit downstairs with the dogs and they all curl up on top of you and it's like a big dog pile, like literally, no pun intended, a dog pile. So those are all the ways that I personally like to decompress. Elise Brown, I hope I'm saying that right, asked, I've always wanted to ask you why you got into doll collecting, because I know everyone has vastly different stories. How I got into doll collecting, let's just take it all the way back. I have always liked dolls. There was never a point in my life where I was like, I'm over dolls, I don't want to do that anymore. And yeah, I mean, I didn't play with them actively after a certain point in time because I had other things going on. I was growing up, but they didn't leave. Like some of them, I got rid of some stuff. I gave it away to friends who had younger siblings or younger family members, and kept the ones that I really liked that meant a lot to me and just had them stored away. So I knew they were still there if I ever wanted to like revisit them or whatever, which I did occasionally, like when I would clean my room and I would find them like wherever they were, under the bed, in the closet, and I was like, oh hi, you know, like it was like hanging out with a friend. Because the dolls of my childhood were very much friends to me. I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. They were always there, they weren't going anywhere, and they were comforting to me. So I always liked dolls in general. And then there were times in my older years, I guess, in my teens, that, you know, we'd be shopping in Target or whatever, or we'd be at the mall when Toys R Us used to be around. And my mom and I would go in and we'd be looking at the doll stuff and we'd be like, oh look, that's different, that's not the same anymore, like, why don't they do this anymore, or like, what did they do to the Bratz, oh my god. And like, so we always would be looking. And we had this joke that, like, what if we got dolls? Like, nobody has to know about it. We could just hide them. And, like, that was our running joke every time we went through the doll aisle. So, time moved on and everything, and I never thought about, like, collecting, because I didn't know it was something that adults did outside of, like, buying the special Barbie collector dolls. Because I knew that Barbie collector dolls were a thing, but I never thought about collecting Playline dolls. Like, I didn't think that was something people did. And then, right around the time when we were moving, and we were in a hotel for a while because they were still building this house, and we had to get out of the other house. So I had nothing to do, I had no job, I had nothing to do. So a lot of what I did was just hang around in the hotel and like watch YouTube stuff. And I found Beauty Inside a Box, who I highly recommend. He's hilarious. I started watching a lot of his videos and I was like, this is an older guy who is collecting dolls, and he's like my age. Like, I didn't know that was a thing. And also, like, when he would open dolls, like, I always thought that if you collected dolls, you had to keep them in the box, never open them, or they lose value. And here he's opening, like, these older Barbies and stuff. I'm like, oh, at first, but then I was like, okay, so I think I'm starting to get it. And once I started watching him, I started getting recommended other doll channels. So it got to the point that I was like, maybe this isn't, like, totally abnormal, what I'm feeling and thinking about dolls and stuff. And the other thing is, when we moved, I actually brought my little brats with me to the hotel. And I didn't really ever get a chance to like do anything with them. I just had them. I didn't realize too that I didn't have a whole lot of clothes for them. So, because I was like, ooh, I'll change up their outfits all the time. And like, no, I don't really have a lot of clothes for the little brats. So I was a little disappointed by that. But just having them was nice because the moving experience was kind of traumatic, and it's a long story. But yeah, it was just nice to have them while we were waiting for the house and everything, and I was kind of like isolated away from my friends in Jersey and bored because we were just sitting around doing nothing. Then when we moved into the house, this is turning into a really long story, but then when we moved into the house, I got a job and I started to look down the doll aisle more like, okay, now if I was gonna buy something, what would I buy? I happened to see Hairdorables and I was like, ooh, what are those? And I looked them up when I got home and they were so cute and they had all this hair and I was like, oh my god, that would be perfect because they're small, so they won't take up a lot of space, they're not that expensive, so I bought one. Kept it in the closet, it was a secret, didn't even tell my mom yet because I was like, but after that was kind of like the door opened and then I was just like, ah, and fell into the world of doll collecting because I bought more Hairdorables. I bought older ones on eBay that I liked that weren't available in the store anymore. And then I also bought a couple of older brats like Princess Chloe and Phoebe, who's back here. So from there it kind of just snowballed and here I am. That's the long story. Hope it wasn't too long and you got bored. Okay, now we are going to make the icing. I'm going to finish off with icing the actual cake tomorrow so that it has overnight to cool. The ingredients for the icing include unsweetened baking chocolate, powdered sugar, butter, heavy cream, vanilla. So the first thing we're gonna do is take 2 ounces, and this is Ghirardelli unsweetened baking chocolate, which I happen to have because my favorite brownie recipe uses this. It is the most delicious brownie recipe ever. I'm gonna break it into smaller pieces in this glass bowl because we're going to microwave it and melt it. Could also be done on the stove on a double boiler, but ain't nobody got time for that. And in between bouts in the microwave, I'm just gonna give it a little mixy mix. It's already melting a little bit. Okay, so the chocolate is nice and melty, as you can see. And we're just gonna let that cool. Meanwhile, I've got my butter, which is again softened. A teaspoon of vanilla. 1.5 cups of powdered sugar, which I'm gonna do in the 1/2 cup since my regular cup is dirty. When it comes to measuring stuff like powdered sugar for icing, the accuracy is a little bit different because the powdered sugar really is what helps to determine texture. The powdered sugar and then whatever liquid that you add into it. So if you like it stiffer, you can add more powdered sugar, and if you like it looser, you can add more cream. I've never tried this particular icing recipe before, so we'll have to see how it comes out. So we are going to mix these together. And when it comes to icing too, the time and speed of the mixing also adds to the volume of the icing. So yeah, you don't want to undermix your icing and not have enough volume to make it cover your whole cake. So I'm shooting powdered sugar everywhere. Oh. You know why? Because I didn't add the liquid. Now I am just adding in the chocolate. This as best as I can. This is again where the plastic spatula comes in handy to get everything out. Looks so good. I cannot wait to taste this icing. You can also use one of those bowl scrapers, although this is a small bowl for a bowl scraper. Chocolate is in. Bowl is gone. My mom is gonna freak out when she sees this mess. So I am gonna finish up this icing and clean up before my mom gets home and has a heart attack. You guys go back and watch some questions and I'll see you tomorrow to do the finishing touches. Phoebus Meticulous, I hope I'm saying that right too, asks a few things. So first of all, would you want to try a tasty morsel of the cake? I wish I could send each of you a piece of this cake that I'm making in the future. You guys all deserve it. You all deserve a piece of cake. Unfortunately, I don't think that the cake would survive if I had to send it to every single person. Here's a virtual slice of cake. Do you watch other doll YouTubers? I do. Specifically, I watch Beauty Inside a Box, Darling Dolls, X Canadensis, I've talked about her numerous times in my live streams, Zombie X Corn, My Froggy Stuff, and My World, and Next Gen. I like her a lot too. So those are the other doll YouTubers that I watch. They also asked, what advice can you give to someone who wanted to start their own channel? They go on to say stuff about how like they're doing this for themselves, and I think that is 100% important in making a channel or an Instagram or a TikTok or whatever it is that you want to do. Do it for you and be yourself. That's like the biggest part of it, because you can try to copy somebody else's style, and I will admit I am guilty of trying to do that in the beginning of the channel. I watched a lot of My Froggy stuff before I finally decided to make a channel, so my beginnings were kind of like hers, and also, you know, I was behind the camera, I was just using my hands, I was trying to emulate that in a way, but then at the same time, I didn't have the same kind of structure, I guess, in my videos, but it's painfully obvious that I'm not being myself and doing it my way. In my later videos, when I took a break and then I came back, I feel like I really found my footing more, and I just try to be completely myself. You guys see me drop stuff, you hear me not able to articulate my words sometimes, and you know, my reactions to stuff, like I like to get explosive and rant about things. So be yourself is definitely a big one. You don't want to be anybody else. You want to let your personality shine through, and if people like your personality, they're going to keep watching you. And also, if you're having fun, that'll be obvious too in your videos. And I think the more natural somebody is, and the less like they're trying to be, you know, the perfect sponsor. I think it's really obvious when someone is trying to be phony, trying to put on a persona to get sponsorships, or, you know, to be like ad friendly as far as YouTube goes. So it's gonna be obvious if you try to be anyone but you. There is a long choose your own adventure story from Phoebus here. Oh no, a tornado is heading your way. You can pick one doll to save. Who do you choose and why? You must make haste. Immediately when I read this, my thoughts went to Resilient, because I mean, how could I, after all the time I waited to get a smart doll, and how much she was, but also how amazing she is, I can't leave her behind. I would be okay if I had to, you know, because she's one of a kind. All the smart dolls, even though they have a design, a predetermined design, they all are unique because they're done by hand, even if it's very hard to tell that they're unique. So you wouldn't be able to get another one just like this Resilient. The other dolls, if they got swept away by the tornado, I could probably get replacements of. It would be heartbreaking, but I could get replacements. But not her. She has to come with me. I love her. Now the tornado is slowing down, but now you have time to choose your favorite line. For example, Monster High Freaky Fusion, Bratz Formal Funk, etc. That's a tough one. I can't really think of one line in a doll brand that I'm like, that whole line is so perfect, I would save every single one of them, because I tend to pick and choose from different lines which ones I really like. Although Bratz Formal Funk is really pretty. Suggested that one, so it's just at the forefront of my mind, but I do love their designs, the dresses and everything in the sparkles. I think it's a very pretty line. So that would probably be a top contender. Otherwise, I really don't know. OMG Queens would probably be up there because I really did like them. Rainbow High Series 3, probably, because they were all really fantastic, although that could change if Series 4 is like even better. Yeah, that's a tough one. I'm going to say that I probably wouldn't be able to pick at all, even if I had the extra time. Now the tornado is acting drunk. OMG, it is drunk! Now you have to save an entire collection. Who do you save? I guess if I was gonna save an entire collection, it would have to be Rainbow High, because I have the most of them, and I love their clothes and I love their designs and their hair and everything. The reason that I keep them here in the closet where, you know, they're not on stands and posed and stuff is so that I can have access to them easily whenever I feel like playing with them. They're the ones that I pick up the most, besides maybe the, you know, my couple of fashionista hybrids back here, but it would have to be Rainbow High because they're the ones that if I was displaced from my home by a tornado, I would want them with me just for some comfort. For the love of little baby Jesus! The tornado is sober and your first doll you saved fell into quicksand that magically appeared. Why? No! You must pick another doll to replace your original. Just one. Make haste. Come on! Hastier! Hastier! Okay, so if I was gonna pick one who I really wanted to save, and I know I just said I would save the entire Rainbow High collection, but I don't think I could just pick one Rainbow High doll. But if I was gonna pick like one doll who I love, 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 who I want to be with me, if it wasn't Resilient, I think it would have to be Sophie. I just feel extremely connected to her. I love her. I've always loved her face. I love her. And that's why when I got her, I knew I had to put her on a made-to-move body because she deserved better than 5 points of articulation. She's the one that I come back to and dress more than any other modern Barbie that I have. And I take pictures of her, or I did when I had more time. You'll see her face more than anybody else on Instagram. She would be my second choice. She is my little buddy. So thanks for that extreme tornado situation. That was pretty scary. Okay, everybody, it is the next day and our cake has cooled overnight. I just have it wrapped in some plastic wrap. Our icing is beautiful and chocolatey. I also have my turntable, offset spatula, bench scraper, and a cake board that is way too big, but it's all I've got, so we're gonna make do. So the first thing, this icing is still a little cold even though it's been sitting out for a little bit, so I'm just going to put it in the microwave to soften it. I also have these pretty little pink pearls to decorate with since I don't have much else. A trick you can do to make sure that your cake board doesn't slide around on your turntable is to put a damp paper towel underneath the board. You can also dab a little icing underneath if you want to, and put a little bit in the middle of the board too before you put the cake on so that it stays. I didn't really get to tell you because we didn't check on the cake together, but the way, obviously, is to put a toothpick in the center and make sure it comes out clean, but you can also press on the top of the cake, and if it bounces back and doesn't indent, then you know it's good to go. As you can see, I don't know if you can see, the lighting's not very good, but it is purple. So I am gonna put it down here on the board, and I'm going to take my offset and just put the whole thing of icing on top. You always start with more icing on top than you think you're gonna need because you're gonna smooth it down the sides anyway. And then you just spin and smooth at the same time. Get it to the edge, and then take your offset this way and smooth it around the side. And as you can see, I'm left-handed. I don't know if you guys knew that, or if I ever had a chance to mention it before. And this already looks good and covered on the side here, but I just want to make sure it's evenly thick all the way around. It's just enough icing for this one layer. Now, this is probably unnecessary because, you know, it's pretty smooth already, but the way I do it at work is I take the bench scraper and smooth the sides out like this, just going around the whole side of the cake, and then you're going to drag from the edge inward to clean up those top corners, make it nice and smooth and pretty. And I've got a little bit of icing left over for eating. So what I'm gonna do with these is, whoops, I am going to put a 1 and a K on the top here, and I'm going to use the pearls to fill in that outline. There was a point in time where I wanted to do a baking and storytelling YouTube channel where I would make a recipe while telling a weird story about my life. So like vlogging, but with a twist. I never actually wound up editing any of the videos. Like I recorded them, but then I was busy doing other things. So they just kind of sat on my computer and yeah. I think doing the doll YouTube channel is probably the most fun out of all the YouTube channels that I've tried to put together over the years, because we had one with my two brothers and I and my friend, which I think I mentioned in the first Q&A video that I ever did. I had a separate channel for doing fan dubs before YouTube got really crazy about copyright, so you know, like anime fan dubs and stuff. We had the video game channel together that we tried to do. And then there was also the couple of like breakout vlog channels that I tried to do that never took off. And now this. And this is obviously the one that took off, but also I think it fits my personality best. Okay, I think it's done. I'm gonna bring you guys over here to see it. Ta-da! 1K! And now the only thing left to do is cut it and see what it looks like on the inside. Ta-da! It is purple! Well, it's like an indigo lavender, but there you go. Here's a slice of cake for all of you guys. Thank you very much for joining me for this. This has been a beast to put together, so I'm gonna send it back to past me in the closet and we'll wrap things up. Okay, we are into the last couple of questions. So, Gray asks, what do you love about being a doll collector? I think what I love most about being a doll collector is that it's this satisfaction in the one period of my life where I wasn't like playing with dolls, but I was still looking and I still was like kind of wanting them. It kind of satisfies that part of me. It's like actively collecting them, I don't feel so much like a weirdo anymore. And I guess part of that is because there's all of you guys who we talk about it and it's a totally normal thing. There's other people on YouTube collecting and stuff. And YouTube is a big other part of doll collecting that I really enjoy now that, you know, I've done it for a while. But also just being able to see and like touch them instead of just having to look at them and be like, oh, you know, I can never buy this again because I'm too old. No, throw all that out the window. We can do whatever we want. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if that answers your question the way that you would like me to, but that's just how I am thinking about the answer. Finally, Christina Land. When did you first start collecting dolls? Did you have a time where you stopped? If so, what made you come back to it? So I kind of already went over this in the whole story of how I started doll collecting. The actual active collecting began in 2019, but I haven't since then stopped. And I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. I mean, my mom was kind of saying to me the other day, like, because when we go into the toy aisles now and I'm like, oh, and I have this one and that one and that one, and she's like, what don't you have? And I'm like, well, you know, I mean, it's not like I bought all of them at once. Some of these dolls have been on the shelves for like a year now. Some of them just came out, you know, but I am limited on space, as you saw in my room and here in the closet itself. So I don't know if there'll come a point where I have to slow down a little bit, but at the same time, like, when I see a new doll, it's like, I don't want to not get it if I like it, right? I don't plan on stopping, maybe slowing down if I get to a point where I'm just like overwhelmed, but not stopping. And even if I don't do more unboxings on this channel, like if I do slow down buying new stuff, there'll still be other things to talk about, like the news and stuff. But as of right now, no, there has not been any stopping period. Well guys, I hope that you like this. This is shaping up to be an extremely long video, so I hope that you guys will actually watch it. If you don't watch it until the end, well then you won't be seeing this part anyway. If you did watch it from start to finish, thank you, that's incredible, and you have earned your slice of cake for sure. Thank you again, thank you for being here, for being part of the channel, part of the first 1,000, and let's hope we get 1,000 more. Thank you for being here, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video, whatever that may be. Bye!